Welcome to Mallorca, Spain and the beautiful Bay of Palma. It's the 2019 Rolex World Championship here in Puerto. Over the next 5 days, 11 top international teams are scheduled to sail 10 races on fast, very competitive TP52 monohulls. For the 5th year running, Mallorcan waters will again fully test teamwork, tactics, sailing skills and boat speed. And as far as the 52 Super Series itself goes, the 3 events contested so far have gone down to a single point. So you can pretty much guarantee that the racing will be full on to the final day. No quarter will be given nor asked on the race course, but on land the ambience is relaxed in this popular upscale marina destination. And all 11 teams have something to prove, and just as in every other sport in the world, everyone wants to win a World Championship title. Now let's go on the water. It's day 3 from the Rolex TP52 World Championship, Puerto 2019. Well, a very warm welcome to Puerto. Slightly different conditions today. We're used to sunshine on Mallorca. Unfortunately, I don't know whether you can hear the thunder in the background. We're on hold just now with thunderstorms coming through. Looks a little bit more like Cape Horn, Jenny, doesn't it?
I think it literally is the thunder on cue, right as you said the word. We had about a 30-second thunder noise roll in just there, but you can see it is not the nicest conditions, and so they've decided to hold the race boats on shore just for a little while. Hopefully, we're expecting this to blow through.
We are. I mean, the forecast is that they should go through for around about 3 o'clock. At the moment, we're on hold until 3. All the teams are just poised in their containers, possibly having a little bit of lunch perhaps, but really it's an important day to stay focused and be able to go on the water at a minute's notice, really, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a little coffee stand downstairs, so there might be some cafe con leches as well as the water, but we've seen out there on the race course that is tricky, that we think the Bay of Palma can be kind of one-sided, can be everyone's got the same strategy, and yet 2 days in a row now, we've not had that happen, and so everyone's going to be figuring out the right ways to stay mentally calm, yet ready to spring at a moment's notice.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at the scoreboard then. We've done 4 races so far. Sled, Takashi Akura's team are on top on 13 points. Platoon just 1 point behind, the 2017 World Champions on 14. Alegre, well, Andy Soriano's team have gone 4-5-1 after a pretty tough opening race with their 10th, so they're in 20. We have 4 boats all on 20 points. Alegre, Quantum Racing and Azura. Then Phoenix 12 started strongly with that pair of 3rd places. Not so good yesterday. Pretty problematic for Tina Plattner's team. Yes, Brenner Sec a little bit up and down in 7th on 22. Phoenix 11 on 28 points. Gladiator on 30. Team Visione Future, our French debutants, having a fairly solid regatta and then learning all the time. And Provezza then unfortunately bottom of the table, but the good news, Jenny, is they have a mast up and are poised to go racing, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think they're probably excited to get out there today. I mean, the difficult part is we're not racing right now. You're seeing the storm. You're, again, hearing the thunder on cue. And those guys are rip-roaring ready. They were hoping to be able to get out yesterday for the 2nd race. It's just a little bit too difficult to get a mast like this from a container in Valencia all the way to where we are on the island of Palma and then up and ready to go for racing. And yet, now here they are ready to race.
Anyway, great situation for Provezza, and all credit to them and the team. Some of them put in 25, 26-hour shifts. They're all poised. Hopefully this will give them just a little bit of a chance to get some rest. We caught up with the local ace, Jordi Calafat, Olympic gold medalist and America's Cup winner. Mallorcan born and bred, and the strategist on the platoon. And Jordi gave us his view of what's going to happen today. So Jordi, a little bit of a complicated day weather-wise. What are we expecting?
Oh, it's a couple of fronts coming today here in Palma, and hopefully we can put one race with the northeasterly. That will be the best, 1 or 2, but best thing will be to sail with the northeasterly and hopefully clear up a little bit later. But race committee has a big decision to take for today.
Northeast is a difficult breeze to sail in?
It's more shifty, but it's fun. But today is probably not a typical northeasterly day because it's a lot of clouds right now and so on. But normally it is. It's different, which is good for the event, not to sail in different conditions.
You like a little bit of a challenge, don't you?
I like to win. Doesn't matter how difficult it is. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how. But what we like is to win or be in the front.
You guys are in good shape, though.
Yeah, we're sailing quite conservatively, and we have 4 consistent races, I think. But the next, not only today, the next 3 days are going to be different, I think. So I think we'll be more open, and a lot of things can happen with these tricky conditions.
Key strategy for you, I believe, at this regatta is to sail clean, no penalties, no OCS.
Yeah, that's always everyone has the same plan, but in this flat water you always ended up at the weather mark, overlap with 4 or 5 boats. Doesn't matter how clean you want to sail. Sometimes it's just how it is, and it's not easy because some of the decision needs to be taken 1 second, and you have to. Yeah, we always say, yeah, let's say clear and no OCSs, but everyone ended up pushing the line and taking some risk because you have to.
And do you especially like sailing at home and the Bay of Palma?
Yeah, I quite like, but I always say everyone on these boats, they sail so many times in Palma. There is no real secrets. Everyone knows the numbers, everyone knows the side, so it's not a real game to be a local.
It's nice to go home to your own bed.
That's for sure. That's my eat what I normally eat and sleep in my own bed and stay with the family. It's a big difference.
Good. Well, thank you, Jordy. So Jordy Colifat there saying it's nice to go home to his own bed, eat his own food. It makes him super comfortable and confident. They're sailing pretty well though, Platoon, aren't they? And he's a real integral part of that machine.
Yeah, I was just laughing when he said that. I mean, the hotel's beds that we're in are actually quite comfortable, so I'm happy here this week. But I think the thing about Platoon, we forget about them sometimes, and yet they are always in the mix.
Omnipresent, really, aren't they?
In the last 2 days, we saw the leaderboard, the top 3 shift, and yet yesterday, Platoon was the only boat to stay in the top 3. I think, in general, as you look over the season this year, they've had a win at the first regatta, a 4th, and a 3rd. So they're always in the mix. Here this week, they've been racing with a 4, 5, 2, 3. So if you were to go, this is your scoreline, all top 5s, some top 3s, you'd be pretty happy with it. And I think realistically, it's difficult out there. It's been tricky. It hasn't been, as we were saying, well, I don't know. He's calling it a one-sided racetrack. It's been a little bit of a one-sided racetrack, but hasn't really been that straightforward. And yet they seem to kind of get through the minefield of the start line, get through the minefields of those big clusters at the top mark like we've seen, especially on race 1. And they're able to execute with only being 1 point behind the lead right now. And that's much better than a lot of other
They are
positions.
putting the pressure on Sled, aren't they?
Well, the pressure on Sled, and I think importantly as well, with the big picture, the overall series, they moved up from Quantum Racing yesterday. They're now second, and they're nipping at the heels of Azura. And that's, I'm sure, not quite in their minds. But
you have that dynamic, don't you, where Sled have got nothing to lose now in terms of the series. They can push the risk. Meantime, Platoon, as you've heard from Morgan Reeser, this is about sailing clean. But it's not easy here, is it? As Jordy just said, slightly one-sided track, people starting in the same place on the start line. Everybody arrives at the windward mark at the same time. We've seen a few penalties.
oh gosh, it's been, I mean, it's been really interesting watching them come into the top mark, and you're going, this team could be 3rd or they could be 7th. And it's just all about, it is such close quarters up there. And I think it's interesting to think of it that way, that if it's a one-sided racetrack, you actually end up close together. Whereas if it's a wider racetrack, one side pays, the other side doesn't, and yet you get some separation that we're not quite seeing here in this fleet. But with them all being this tight, with the boats being so close and so competitive as well, they're all coming in. I mean, the worst we saw was day 1, race 1, top mark number 1, and it was like
just a
6 boats
stramash, as we say in Scottish.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll debrief that a little bit later.
Yeah, no, indeed. But a few words about Sled. As I say, they've got nothing to lose in terms of the series. They've been sailing pretty solid, haven't they?
They've had an interesting series so far. I don't think it's been the best that we've seen them sail. And yet I think here this week they've had, I mean, their last 3 scores have been 1st on the 2nd race of the day, 1st yesterday of day 1, 1st yesterday morning, and 2nd yesterday. So kind of the only scoreline that beats Platoon better than a 5th is 1st, 1st, 2nd, and yet they had a 9th in the 1st race. So I think we were talking about possibly some jet lag there, possibly just getting the team back together again, remembering the dynamic. They sit overall in the series in 7th, so 1 point out of 8th. A couple of the teams haven't been able to complete in all of the regattas, Sled being one of those teams. They were away racing in New York Yacht Club race week. So I think for them, that hurts them. And I think, as you said, it kind of opens them up as well. Each regatta allows them to just focus. I mean, most of the teams here are just focusing race by race anyway. And then they're focusing regatta by regatta. And the overall series win is sort of this elusive, we'll think about that when the time comes maybe at the next event, and yet it is probably still always not.
No, completely. I think the difference there is with Azura, isn't it? I think every point is a pinprick, isn't it, really, for them when it's so close.
Azura and Quantum. I think Baird's got enough season titles in his back pocket that he's thinking about that as well on board Quantum Racing,
But what's Azura's kind of strategy at this regatta in particular? Do they tend to sit back and just concentrate on the circuit now, or what do you think?
I think Azura's a funny one. We did see them a lot more, you could say, interactive with Quantum maybe, back when it used to be the Terry Hutchinson, 2 years ago, essentially, we could say. And since Santiago Lange's come on board, their tactics are different. There's a different tactician. I think this week as well, it's been maybe difficult for him, having just come from Tokyo. So speaking of jet lag, that's a big one. And yet they're at the top of the leaderboard. They're only 2 points ahead of Platoon now. So they've lost a couple points here by not having the best regatta by, 2.945. That's not a bad scoreline either, but that ninth is gonna kill those guys.
Expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're sitting, realistically, they're sitting in that four-way tide for third place. So there still is easily every chance for them to win here. There still is easily every chance for them to kind of keep putting points on the board. They've overtaken Quantum Racing overall in this series. So yeah, I think every race you're talking about the two of them and the points and the boats in between them, and they're probably not thinking about it that much, but they're noticing it after the race. They would look back and go, oh, Quantum's, back there, and that's a good thing for them, both here in this regatta and for the overall series. But I think for Azura, they're just like Platoon. They're happy to play in their own course, to sail their own decision-making. I think they're probably not as dictated by the fleet as some of the other teams. And yet it's been really hard to make those decisions here and to stick to your guns. I think maybe the best team that's done that so far is Sled. We've seen them have some pretty bold
starts,
bold starts, and yet it's worked out.
And that second race yesterday, they came back and got themselves up to second, didn't they?
Yeah.
But the good news this morning, as we said, we have 11 boats on the dock here, 11 masts as well. Privet's a fantastic job with the shore team and everyone else getting things prepared. We caught up with Simon Fry, the trimmer, looking a little bit tired and bedraggled this morning was Stir Fry, but this is what he had to say. So Simon Fry, things looking a little bit better for you this morning. You've got a mast and you're ready to go racing.
Yeah, things are a lot better this morning. Up until about 45 minutes ago was still a bit sketchy, but the lads have worked incredibly hard. Some of the shore team have put in a shift which is just unbelievable, and I think we'll be on the line today.
What kind of shape are you in terms of the rig?
Well, it's the last rig from the 2015 boat, so it's not dissimilar, but it's not the same. I think it's fair to say we'll be racing and we will do everything we can to get a good result, but will we be as good as with the other rig? No. But,
And tell me a little bit about the logistics and the whole process of getting the mast up.
That just surprised even most of the team. So by the time we were on the shore, the lads had sorted the rig in Valencia. It was already boxed up, but it was on the truck. Got into the ferry port with the appropriate paperwork, got it to the ferry port here, managed to open a different gate so it didn't have to go on the road, so it came through the back door into the yard. We arrived at 7:30 yesterday morning and it was there ready.
And you've been going ever since?
Yeah, again, some of the shore team have worked 25 hours of the last 24, which is just over and above.
But heartbreaking to lose the points.
Yeah, but it goes with the turf. Yeah, you're racing a Grand Prix race boat and a rig breaks every now and then. Unfortunately, in the past, people have had problems. Allegra had a really bad one in Sardinia, I think, a couple of years ago. Just this time, it was our turn.
Have a good day today. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Cheers.
Simon Fry then putting a brave face on things, Jenny, saying they worked 25 hours out of 24. And you remember just after it happened, they called the race committee and said, could we have 5 minutes and try and sort things out? That's the measure of that team, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure that was Simon Fry, exactly.
No, completely.
Just a 5-minute breakdown here, please. Just delay 5 minutes. But I think the kind of the biggest bummer, a bummer for every team is to miss racing for a breakdown. But for these guys, we were really looking at them as being contenders here.
Yeah.
And I think that's that. They'd won the practice race here on Saturday. They'd just won a previous regatta this summer. They won in Puerto and they were...
and they won here in 2017.
Yeah, and they were on the heels of a bad event in Cascais, so it's like they had something to prove. They came out here, they proved it on the practice race with a good fight against Azura, and then, race one in a decent position, losing your mast. They have a lot to prove. They want to. They're chomping at the bit, and now it's just slight delay.
Slight delay. What do you think is going to happen today then, Jenny? Put you on the spot.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I mean, well, just now, there's no more thunder
It's just
on
cleared
cue.
through, hasn't it? Yeah.
So
We're up to our knees in water, though.
we actually do have a little pool around us because we are set up outside in the studio. But it does look like the storm cell that we've had, as you just saw in those images, has kind of just finished. So the rain and the squall that we were getting right at the top of the show is through. And that was the biggest one for this afternoon. So we're hoping after this, if it looks clear, and most importantly, if the lightning is gone, then we'll get out and maybe racing for about 3 o'clock this afternoon. We're thinking something like that.
Just to be clear, the lightning is a threat, isn't it? Obviously,
The lightning is the main problem.
that's the main problem. But we can race in rain, can't we?
Well, we're not getting to
Some
race
of us
here.
can.
Yeah, but I'll still be on the water in the rain. Hence the
Exactly.
jacket. But,
Exactly.
Yeah, the lightning is the concern and is what's keeping them ashore. And again, of course, the shiftiness of the storms like this. We saw really interesting racing yesterday afternoon when a unexpected 50 degree shift came through, and there wasn't even any sort of storm cell on any horizon. So it would have been difficult to be racing in this period because it's just not steady conditions. So waiting for it all to pass through before Maria sends them back out.
Indeed, waiting for it all to pass through and get day 3 racing underway. Let's have a look at day 1. How did things all start out here in Puerto Portals? It's high summer and welcome to the Sunshine Island of Mallorca. We're back with the 52 Super Series in Puerto Portals, one of our favourite destinations. We're here for the Rolex 52 World Championship. We have 11 teams and 8 nations represented, and it's going to be a fantastic week.
Be a World Championship for this class is amazing because this is the Formula One of the sailing or the monohulls. For me, it's the most important class.
The defending world champions are Quantum Racing, who won the world title in Cascais. Big changes on board Quantum Racing. They have their talismanic owner-driver back. Doug DeVos is steering.
You know, I've never been on the boat when we've won. The boat's won, but I've only competed in a few. For whatever reason, the schedule hasn't worked out for me to be able to participate, so I'm thrilled to be here and have this chance this week. It's wonderful. It's so much fun. When you sneak away for a while to do a few other things, you come back to the boat, you come back to the fleet, and you recognize just how special this is.
Race 1 gets away in a light sea breeze, 8 to 9 knots on the start line. The boats at the pin end start best with the early advantage. Quantum Racing make a pretty decent start, get out to the right of the course early on, and are just able to lead Azura round the top mark. There's a big drama at the top mark. Platoons start off by shooting the mark. Regatta are affected and have to shoot also, but they get stuck and backwinded, and behind them Allegri are badly affected. Regatta have to do turns and end up 10th round the leeward gate. On the second beat, Provenza's mast crumples suddenly with no real explanation, and a race against time to make a replacement starts for them. Through the finish line then, it's Quantum Racing winning, Azura second, the Phoenix 12 get third, Platoon fourth, and Bernasek make a nice recovery to get up to fifth.
It was fabulous. Yeah, I mean, kind of get back in the fleet, find your way around. It felt pretty good.
We're not too sure what broke, but obviously something broke that caused the mast to fail. It's too hard to tell at this point in time because it happens so quick. We're very fortunate we've got a spare rig, an older rig that's in Valencia, and I think the boys are working pretty hard now to try and get that to here to Palma.
Second race is just a little bit more breeze on the start line, probably 10 knots. The best start is certainly that of Sled, who come off the committee boat end of the line, get to the right early with Allegri. Quantum Racing make a bad start and are on the back foot early on, but at the top mark the lead is with Sled. Phoenix 11 are second, Phoenix 12 in third, and that's the way it stays round the course. It's the first race win this season for Sled. Second place is with Phoenix 11. Phoenix 12 in third lead the World Championship.
Yeah, it was great. We got a good start and sailed pretty well most of the race, kept ahead the whole way. I think we're in pretty good shape. The boat seems to be going well and we just got to settle down and do our thing.
The secret of the day today was just to go out and try and do our jobs as well as we can and keep the boat going fast. It's a tough fleet out there and every inch counts, and it's a really nice way to start the event. It's really good.
After 2 races then at the Rolex TP52 World Championship, first place is with Phoenix 12, Tina Plattner on 6 points, second Quantum Racing on 8 points, and third Platoon on 9 points. Well, the first day of racing in the Rolex TP52 World Championships, a red letter day for the Phoenix team. Tina Plattner and co leading the World Championship after the first day. 2 very good races, light sea breeze conditions. We should see more of the same tomorrow, and a battle, a race against time for the Provenza team to replace their mast. Well, that was just looking back to the glorious sunshine on day one. Still on hold here on day three, and joined by Albi Barovier from the Brunenisek team, project manager. New boat this year. How's it going?
It's going all right. We are getting there with the speed, and we are trying to getting better for the end of the season. So this regatta will be important for us.
What's the advantages of the new boat? Where have you felt an advantage, or has it really just been learning so far?
A new boat is always a new boat. You have a little bit of advantage in speed-wise, but I mean the boats are so close and the teams are so good that you can really say our new boat is really fast. So it's a tough fleet, and you need to work hard on each detail, and try to get better every day, from the boat to the sails to the crew. So it's.
Where do you think you are in terms of the potential of the boat then? Are you at where you should be?
Yeah, we are pretty close to the 100%, because you don't want to. It will be not good to show up at the World Championship with a boat that is not in a good shape. Yeah. So we are pretty close, but still we are aiming to something more for the end of the season. So we still leave some. Play some cards at the end.
Where's the room for improvement then, in terms of the hardware and the people?
Let's say that right now we have all the tools on the tables, and we just need to use it in the proper way. So I think that's with the mast tuning, sails, and refine a little bit the crew work is the key. So we are working on that.
Tell us about what's the kind of characteristics of your team? What's the philosophy of the team? I mean, you see lots of different philosophies and kind of through the team, from some teams who are more like big families, and some teams who are just a kind of disparate group who work together on the boat. Where do you fit together?
We're pretty much a family team, where I think that there is what I like most from my team is just that there's no rock stars, and there's all the guys are really low profile but super good sailors and with a lot of curriculum. And there's from different parts of the world, especially they're coming from Russia, but there is Italian, New Zealand, Australian, so there is a little bit of everything. And I think that's the good spirit of the team, is this one, that we are all together, we take decision all together, there's no one.
And what's your role within that? How do you manage it? What's your outlook, if you like? Are you cracking the whip all the time, or are you just...
No, I'm just coordinating everyone. I'm coordinating everyone and try to make everything works properly. From logistics to decisions for the boat, for the sails, and so it's a tough job, because it's not easy in the beginning of the season just put together the right people, and that is even tougher then to make everyone happy. So
talk to us a little bit about the team. How did you pick the team essentially as the boat was being built? Let's have a look at your team, a lineup as it were.
Yeah, we have
kind of key choices.
Yeah, well, most of the people that you see on the list there are people that sail with us since many years, and the few new guys are coming from experience with us with the Swan 50, and the other from the RC44, and other they never sail with us, like Ed Smythe, that is New Zealand, and he's a very good choice. We did this year as a navigator. And then we have obviously Sime Fantella, that is sharing the helms with Vladimir, and he's doing a great job.
But he was somebody who comes in with not so much big boat Grand Prix experience, but is super hungry, isn't he?
Yeah, that's a little bit what
you were looking for.
Yeah, exactly what we thought in the beginning with Vladimir. So we need the fresh air in the team, and I think that's it's a good choice, because he's really into this program, and he's a talent. So he's bringing new ideas, and bringing new way to sail the boat.
Give me some typical examples then of that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, he's starting from the morning. He's looking all the stars. He's going through the stars every morning. So he's very
methodical,
and plus he's always pushing way to sail the boat and trimming the sails during downwind, upwind. So it's a very good, fresh
He keeps you on your toes.
All the time. And he's doing it in the right way. And me and Morgan, we are sharing a very good time with him. And he's also very good. He's trust us a lot. So me as a strategist and Morgan as a tactician, we are talking a lot, and he's trust us a lot. So it's a good combination, and that's why I'm happy about the team. They are all trusting each other and helping each other, and that's very nice.
And obviously Vladimir's given up the helm. That was tell us about a little the kind of conversation that you had with Vladimir when you decided, when you decided or you suggested that Shime might steer.
I think that it comes from both. Exactly as you say, we had a conversation and we say we need to try to make one step forward and try to.
What can we do?
What we can do, and then obviously one of the differences that we need to find out from the past years was having another helmsman or having a professional and see if there was a real difference, and we agree. We both agree that if there will be a new helmsman, needs to be someone with not really with experience, but with a young and with new, fresh ideas and with really anger of winning. So that's why we choose Shime, and he's very happy. And
they are sharing the helming duties. I think Shime does the starts and.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's happened happened here yesterday, before yesterday, and happened in Cadiz most of the time. Yeah. So there are moments where we are happy with the setup and we are happy with the position, and Vladimir is keen to steer basically all the time. But it's normal.
It's normal.
Yeah. And they switch.
But the other key thing that you've told me before is that Vladimir is very keen to learn and raise his own game, and that is the method of doing that, isn't it? It's a process that he can see the little.
He can see from
2 or 3% here.
You know, we've been selling a lot. He's been selling a lot of time helming, and we were saying to him, you know, this is wrong. You should do this. You should do that, and. It's hard to see when you are.
It's hard to be told that, though, isn't it? Unless you are a Grade 1 helmsman.
Yeah, he understands, and what I'm saying is that from another point of view now, he's looking the picture in another way, and he understands more than when he was told to do something. So now he's looking, he's understand, and when he's steering perfectly.
And you've said to me before, this is a 3-year program at least?
Yeah, this is a 3-year program, so we go in here, then next year, and then the year after. So next year we have a
Next year you're winning the circuit.
Man.
Here's hoping.
He's hoping.
But what about the idea of going to South Africa then? That must be quite exciting for everyone. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, we've been since the beginning. We've been happy and with the class 2 decisions. I mean,
to go where we go.
Yeah, I mean, if you join the class, you have to accept to do everything the class say. And I think that we are happy to go there. It's a nice place. Everyone say that it's an amazing spot for sailing and no sailing. So why not to investigate new venues
and go together?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about sail programs, because we're at the penultimate regatta of the season. We're now moving into lighter sea breeze conditions. Where is everybody in terms of sail programs, do you think? Where are you? And just start off, because just gives a general picture. What are you allowed to do over the course of the season?
The sail programs is very. We have a
very private, but just
no, it's not private. I mean, it's very delicate. Because it's basically like for MotoGP the engines.
Yeah.
You need to be very careful of how much you use it. And so I think that's everybody are at the top of the possibility. So they at the World Champions is always World Championships. So they use the very brand new sails and with the latest shape, but still I think that everyone still have a few cards for the end of the season, because it's important to show up.
So for example, the essential thing here is we're in lighter sea breeze conditions, so you have to have some cards to use specifically here for lighter conditions.
Yeah, that's and the work comes from the beginning. So when you do your sail program, you are what we did was get an weather analysis
for the season.
and then with the experience and that weather analysis, we say, okay, we use this one now, then we use a new Jeep comes here, a new kite comes here, and so we arrive here with fairly new sails and some new sails, and then for Porto Cervo we still have a few cards to play.
So what are we optimising for Porto Cervo? What are we expecting?
Usually I will say that we're
but it's Porto Cervo in September. You get anything, yeah, couldn't you?
Yeah, but last year we did the Swan 50 World with 6 knots.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but we still have a few cards to play, and we will see at the end of this regatta which one are the sails we use most, and then so we evaluated which one there will be the new one in Porto Cervo.
And what's your kind of view of the circuit so far this season in general?
Oh, it's the best circuit you can choose if you want to sail at the top level. There's all the best sailors in the world. There's a big investment by sponsors and owners in materials, and so everything has the.
But I mean, I ask this as somebody who sailed in Swan 50s and the RC44s and the other Swan classes, and Vladimir's back in the 52 Super Series. That kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah, that's why he backs on the 52, because we are talking about the top of the sailing world. So there are, especially for old people like me, that
old people
doesn't know how to foil. That's good. So I think that is from no foiling side of the world is the.
This is the place to be, isn't it?
Is the place to be.
A few words about Cascais. It was incredible, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah,
the images were incredible. What was it like on board?
You know that we go back, especially the last day, we back on shore and say, where is the wind limit for this class? We didn't really understand because we saw 31 knots.
31 knots.
At the top, Marcus, and we were sailing, everything was fine. So I think that's.
What was your top boat speed over the week?
I didn't see it. I was so busy grinding and clean the boat that I don't know. It was really aggressive conditions, and especially the waves. These boats are not really like big waves. They are nose diving quite a lot, and a lot of water comes in. So a tough week, but for top level sailors. So we need to be used to that.
So what's the pressure like on you over the course of the season? I mean, the season started, remember back, we talk about the first regatta of the season, but the season started in Valencia in March, really, didn't it? And we're still going hard. How do you cope with that?
Our season started in May.
Right, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so we were a little bit behind the schedule, but I think that's as a team and we catch up very fast with the group, and I think that for the first year back in the fleet with the new boat, we catch up quite quickly. So right now we have. I'm not used to look the points very much, but I think that we are fairly close to everybody on the general. So there are still options. We still have probably today. It's not going to be. We're not going to have the. Hopefully, we have the two
races today.
Probably one or maybe no. But we still have races to go. So there's a lot of points on the water for the season, for the world. So it will be interesting.
And meantime, you run one of the top restaurants in Valencia, I believe.
Of course. Ottavia Restaurante. I have to do some advertising for.
There are many other restaurants in Valencia as well, but
this is the best.
Yours is the best. Anyway, let's have a look at day 2 highlights. Thank you, Albie. Have a very good day.
Thank you. Take it to you.
So this is the highlights of day 2. Another hot day in the Balearic Islands in Puerto. We're into day 2 of the Rolex TP52 World Championship. Another complicated day on the water. There'll be sea breeze conditions, but the race area is going to be a little bit more difficult.
It will be a little bit more lefty than the other days, still clicking a little bit right, so maybe a little bit more pressure. It's like rolling the dice.
Tina Plattner's team on the Phoenix 12 lead the World Championship. Can they sustain their performance under pressure?
We had a good day. Cam made some really nice decisions on the race course. The boat, I think, was quite suited to the wind strength we had yesterday. So, yeah, we're quite happy with the start. And now it's obviously another 4 tough days to come. So let's see how it goes.
Well, race 3, it looked like a pretty typical Palma Bay day with 13, 14 knots off the start line. A cluster on the left of the line, really, at the pin end. But once again, sled executed from nearer the committee boat. Team Vision Future were over the start line, unfortunately, just missed timing the final metres and had to restart. And Quantum Racing down towards the pin end have to double tack just before the start and so end up starting down speed. Platoon are pretty solid off the line, but upwind, sled managed to get across to the left and lead round the top mark. Platoon in second, Azura third and Allegra fourth. At the leeward gate, well, it's pretty standard down the run, although Brunellasek managed to get through Allegra. And at the finish then, it's a second win in a row for sled. Platoon are second and Brunellasek in third. Race 4 of the World Championship, 13 knots at the start, working the left-hand side early on. It's Azura best off the start line. Brunellasek are over the line and have to recross. And a solid start once again from Platoon. Windward market is Platoon leading, Allegra in second, Phoenix 12 in third, and Team Vision Future, the French team, up in fourth and really challenging. But down the run, it gets a little bit funky towards the leeward gate. 25-degree shift. Allegra read it well and get away. Team Vision Future, unfortunately, don't and lose their kite in the water and end up with a big sea anchor out of the back of the boat. The Allegra win. The head-to-head for the regatta lead is between sled and Platoon, and it goes the way of sled, who gets second, and they lead on 13 points.
Obviously having a lot of fun out there when you're at the front end of the fleet, but also, you know, the crew's just doing a fantastic job of sticking together the whole time. Mr. Okura is getting really locked into the boat. He loves this venue and these conditions, and he's got his spirits high, so it works well for the team.
The standings at the Rolex TP52 World Championship after 4 races. Sled lead on 13 points. Platoon are 1 point behind on 14. And then there are 4 boats all on 20 points. Allegra, Quantum Racing, Azura and Phoenix 12, all tied in the same points. Well, second day of the Rolex TP52 World Championships done and dusted. That second race extremely complicated with that big wind shift, but sled leading after day 2. Day 3 promises more difficult conditions, the frontal system coming through. Join us for all the action. Well, that was us looking at day 2 here in Puerto, the Rolex TP52 World Championships. We've got Ed Reynolds with us, defending champions. Ed, how's it going?
No, it's going okay. You know, we had a little tough day yesterday, but, you know, I think we've got things sorted out with the team. I think we'll be back ready to compete to win this.
What was the debrief yesterday after yesterday? 1 or 2 little problems in the start line?
Yes.
Just not getting off the line. But I mean, it's not inevitable, but it's tough for Doug, isn't it?
It's tough. Well, you know, he does an amazing job, but, you know, this course can be so one-sided. So you've got to really get to the left side of the course yesterday, and, you know, positioning yourself off the start's critical.
And so where do you feel you are in terms of the regatta and the circuit?
You know, we're pretty close to where we thought coming in. I mean, we had a lot of changes this year. You know, last year, you know, I thought we had one of the best 52 teams ever, and we've changed 7 people and integrating everybody in. I mean, they're all great sailors, but, you know, one of the things that I think gets lost is what a team sport this is, and just getting everybody comfortable in their roles. And, you know, it feels like every event we're getting better.
When you say it's a team sport, that's all the way across the team. It's not just the guys who are on the boat, isn't it?
Absolutely. We have 26 people on the
Sorry, how many?
26 people on the team.
Wow.
And everyone is critical to how we end up in a regatta.
And say, how do you feel you are then for the circuit then at this stage? You've crept back into contention, a very nice regatta in Cascais, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, we're hanging in there. I think we've got things in place that we can make a big move for the rest of the season.
How does that big move happen?
You know, it's an interesting thing, the way we've always sailed the boat. You know, when Terry was with us, we used to joke all the time is we don't do clever well. Everything is just conservative, fundamental, and the formula we've always used is boat speed and just positioning, risk management. And, you know, that's probably been our biggest struggle this year is we've had more big numbers than we've ever had in the past. But, you know, in all honesty, that was expected. That's the one thing that's really critical and separates the top teams from the other teams. Isn't the best, because everybody goes about the same speed, top end. It's controlling that big number.
And correspondingly, it's so much harder now to pick. Terry always talked about chipping away, picking off boats here and there. It's so much harder to do that, isn't it?
It's really hard. It's amazing. I mean, I would think people are sick of hearing it, of how great this fleet is. And things that you can get away with on any other circuit, you can't get away with here. I mean, a bad tack will cost you 2 points. And so, it's just perfection and it's just consistency. That's how you end up winning.
Talk to us a little bit about the team. I think you had 7 changes before pre-season.
Yeah.
Maybe have a little look at the graphic and just give us a quick rundown of who came in and why, to a certain extent, your key picks without dropping anybody in it or whatever. But why Cameron Hamilton, for example?
A couple of reasons with Cameron. Cameron's had amazing success in a number of other classes. We wanted to get a little bit younger and introduce some new people to the fleet. He had bits and pieces in the Super Series, but, this was, and we felt, you come in with a lot of inexperience at this, but one of the reasons with Cameron we felt it was worth doing was our speed team was so solid and so consistent. Mm-hmm. So, he's been a great choice for us. Who else we've got? Jared. Oh,
sorry, go on.
Yeah, Jared Henderson. A number of the new guys had been on the team
before,
or have been with the Super Series. Jared Henderson, Beachy. I mean, just a mainstay, rock solid. He's been great. Federico Michetti was.
Talked about him because he's new to this level of racing, really, isn't he?
Who, Federico?
Yeah.
He's been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, he came in and. Introducing new people, this is a hard circuit to break into.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that have a foothold in it, and Federico hadn't done any of the 52 stuff before. And, it took a little time for the team to warm up, and, and that's so critical. You can't be successful at this level unless everybody around you wants you to be successful. And watching Federico working with the crew and gaining their trust, and it's been an incredible.
You have to have a little bit of a thick skin as well to come into that team, don't you?
Yes, you do.
You're not going to get criticism to your face, but it's just, you have to prove yourself, don't you?
Oh, no, you'll get criticism.
Oh, will you?
No, it will be, there's no getting
You're self-excluded.
I'm the only nice person on the entire team. And so, but, so you really have to be secure and, trust in your core competency. But, it's almost more important. Everybody's a good sailor, everybody's a good technician, but the ability to integrate into the team, it's so impressive watching Federico and how he's done that with the group.
Talk to us about business with Quantum Sales, Quantum Racing. This is about business, isn't it? It's about selling sales. How important has this been for Quantum Sales?
Well, the biggest impact has been it's proved to the marketplace we can compete on any level, that we're a world-class company. It's tough for us to sell sales into the fleet because I think most people look at us more as a competitor here than a supplier. And, so we've had moderate success with growing in the 52 class itself, but the impact that it's had on our company worldwide and people who recognize everything we do, primarily their vision of Quantum comes from this platform. I was at the Melgus 24 North Americans about a week ago, and everybody there knew almost every move. Hey, remember that mark rounding 4 regattas ago?
You're saying yeah.
Had it, but it was stunning, the degree, and it was really encouraging to see how interested and how much people follow this.
You've been doing this for quite a long time. I mean, going back, wasn't it? You were day one, I think, pretty much of this.
I may be the only person in the world that has been at every 52 event since the first Med Cup.
Yeah.
And
you still enjoy it as much as ever?
I do. It's a lot of travel.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of things on my plate right now, but I don't know, it's like an addiction. When you come here, I'm a huge fan of sailing.
Yeah.
And being here on the front lines, and I'm so grateful for to really be a part of the team and the opportunity that Doug's provided all of us. So it's one that's too hard to walk away from.
We've got a question coming in from Facebook about costs. What are the costs of running a team?
Ooh.
In ballpark terms.
Ballpark terms. I think you can, for running costs, I think you can compete, be there, do everything, have a great time for probably in the range of $2 million a year. To win the circuit, you're probably more closer to 3.2.
But you can come in, as we see on occasions, with the French team coming in with a slightly older boat. They were in the middle of the fleet yesterday with some quantum sails.
Yes, our sails from last year.
But you're giving them a little bit of a help, are you? Or?
Yeah, we've got great technical people on the team, and I was really proud of them because when they came in, and it wasn't just to help the team and to help Quantum, they really wanted to
learn.
Yeah, to learn, and our team to help the French team get up to speed, and I think they're competitive.
They're competitive with the previous sled, isn't it?
Yeah, and they struggled their first event, which everybody does.
Yeah.
And then went to Copa del Rey.
And won.
Won strong.
Yeah, it was a good team, a good class, sorry.
Yeah, so, the impact of it all it's pretty positive.
How do we manage them, if you like, or how do we make sure that they stay with the class? Speaking as a stakeholder, if you like.
Well, what we're looking at right now is the costs can get daunting.
Yeah.
And I think it's, one of the things, a lot of people would like to do this. So, the class is frozen the rule for another 2 to 3, I can't remember the exact time, 2 years at least.
Yeah.
And so, I think people get worried you have to be into an arms race to do this. And so the class, I feel, has done a great job to minimize that impact. Doing exactly what you're doing here. It's got to be the most watched sailing in the world. And, it's inspirational to people. But I think cost containment, and, we had a board meeting today, and one of the concepts were, the one job of a class is to make all the boats go the same speed.
Yeah.
And, Rob Weiland and Augustin, the team around this, has done an incredible job. I mean, the only difference is you can basically say, do I want to go a little faster in light air, or do I want to go a little faster in heavy air? But the rest of it, it's shocking how close these boats are.
Indeed. Tell us a little bit about your sail program then, just very briefly. You've got some new technology this year?
Yeah, we've got, briefly, yeah. There's a lot of stuff. Some of it I can't.
We've only got a couple of hours.
Yeah. No, exactly. No, they don't even tell me.
Oh, really?
It's like, you have a big mouth. You'll blab about it. So, one of the technologies that we've been testing that we just brought in to look at. I didn't think the team would want to button it. Was a graphene sail.
Yeah.
That we're using just in a staysail platform right now, but the results are incredible. So
what does that bring as a technology? It's much lighter?
It's way lighter. You don't use heat, so it opens up opportunities for virtually any type of fiber. There's no lamination. And, tongue-in-cheek, but obviously it brings a considerable cost savings to building these sails. I mean, building.
And will that become applicable to other classes?
We're hoping, the biggest thing is how do you commercialize it?
Yeah.
And that's always the difficult part. But that, new skins, I mean, everything's a full evolution on sails. Every year we get better, and, this is our test platform.
Great, thank you very much, Ed. You can enjoy your lunch if you get time.
Thank you. Yep.
We caught up with Tony Langley, now believe it or not, the owner-driver, incredibly enthusiastic owner-driver of Gladiator. This is his 10th 52 World Championship, and we caught up with Tony yesterday. Tony Langley then 10th World Championship, how about that?
Hey, wow, is that it? Gosh, yeah.
You've done a few?
Yeah, we've done a few, yeah.
And how does this fleet compare to when you started out?
It's a whole different ball game. Yeah, this is 11 boats and all sailed to the highest possible standard. This is the gold standard.
And are you enjoying it as much as you did on day one way back then?
I am. Yeah, I am. You just have to kind of reinvent, keep reinventing yourself really for for the enjoyment side of it, and doing tactics is is a different perspective on the whole thing.
And how's that going?
We had a 6 yesterday. I was pretty pleased with that. Yeah. I didn't get too much of a roasting in the in the debrief this morning. So
they are allowed to roast you, are they?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's Stevie Erickson. He doesn't pull any punches, But we're not we're not quite clicking yet as as the team, and it's never one thing. Yeah. It's a team sport for sure.
In the meantime, you're doing a massive amount of sailing this year again. Does the 52 Super Series help you bring your level up for example, for the likes of Cows Week?
Oh yeah, without a doubt, yeah. This is where where your mistakes are really punished. Yeah.
And what's your plans for the future?
More Super Series next year. Not sure how much more, but certainly I'll certainly be here. Yeah.
The idea of going to South Africa?
Yeah. South Africa's, it's something new, something different. Yeah. Hopefully make that one. Hopefully other things don't get in the way.
And how do you like it here in Puerto? It's one of your favourite venues?
It is actually, yeah. I love the venue. Warm, middle of August, high summer, a mealy, streaky sea breeze, doesn't come in until after 1 o'clock, probably the most difficult conditions to sail in anywhere.
You're still getting to do a bit of cycling as well, are you?
Haven't done any this week, but I've been full of good intentions, so really...
Good. You're part of that club.
Yeah, but I'll get on the bike before the week's out.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah. Thanks, Andy.
Well, Tony Langley there enjoying life here in Puerto Portals. The rain today a little bit more reminiscent of Cows, where he sailed a week or so ago and had tasted a little bit of success there. But Tony also talking about going to South Africa. Well, I'm joined by Hilton Hale, who's the Director of World Sailing, who are our partners in South Africa. We're going there next year. Big appetite for the 52 Super Series moving to South Africa.
Yeah, good afternoon, Andy. Everyone is very excited, especially in Cape Town. There's quite a lot of fans of sailing in general, and especially the 52 Super Series. So we've already written to the yacht club confirming that they're going to be the host club, Royal Cape Yacht Club. So everyone is really teed up and looking forward.
Tell me what's been going on behind the scenes then in the last few weeks to get across the line to get this 52 Super Series to Cape Town.
Well, I think it's mainly thanks to the Plattner family, who Tina came up with the idea of perhaps let's have a look at hosting Cape Town. So it was just a matter of seeing if we've got the resources. We certainly got the venue in the Victorian Alfred waterfront. I think there's about 1 million tourists that go through that waterfront every month. So we've managed to get the regatta into a real prime spot. So we have been talking to the right people. The City of Cape Town is now backing it. We got some confirmation about a week ago that they're on board as well.
What can we expect ashore then? The key piece, if you like. On the water will look after itself, but I mean, what's the shoreside facilities going to be like?
Well, the V&A waterfront is probably one of the most successful waterfronts in the world. As I mentioned, they get over 1 million tourists going through the waterfront every month. I think there's something like 65 restaurants around the race village where they'll be sailing. And
65?
Then 60, yeah, it's a big place. So if the teams want to hide away from the public eye, there's certainly enough restaurants to hide away in. And then the race village will be in front of the Table Bay Hotel. So there'll be a nice pull-through of general public who will be fascinated by the boats.
And there's a big sailing population there, very passionate sailors.
Yeah, obviously everyone knows that Cape Town is the Tavern of the Seas, which normally is a stopover for ocean races. So this is something quite unique, having a World Championships and a Series Regatta, especially on the 52s.
Just to clarify that, as far as we know, we're running the Rolex TP52 World Championship there. The second regatta in April then, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's what we've been told, and we're pretty excited about that.
But and on the water, what will conditions be like in March and April? So we're first week in March, first week in April. What can we expect?
Well, I just don't want to be one of those people that says the weather's not normally like this, but typically March, April is really the best time of the year to be sailing in Cape Town. November, December, we have the strong southeaster known as the Cape Doctor, which everyone is familiar with. But March, it should start tapering off, so we should see moderate conditions, anything ranging from 12 to 25 knots. We start getting... Sounds good, yeah. That's the southeast. And then commonly we start getting the southwesterly blowing in Table Bay, which amongst the sailors in Cape Town is their favourite.
Give us a picture of sailing or sailboat racing just now in Cape Town. Is it healthy? What are we sailing?
So we've just converted to ORC from RC. It's been going for about 2 years. So we have about 180 boats sailing under the ORC rule.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah. So in Cape Town, I think we probably have about 40 boats at any event, ranging from the Regatta P52 of Lord Laidlaw's. Then there's Tina's old Far 40, which is now still racing, and we've got a GP42. And then, of course, we've got the newly launched Cape 31s, which we're busy building the 17th boat
17 boats. And you've got 16 racing the rest of the time, or do you have a good fleet?
Yeah, so regularly, well, some have been exported, so regularly we've got about 12 boats that race the circuit there of the Cape 31s.
And the Phoenix guys race them as well, I believe?
Yes. Tony and Tina have their boat called TNT, which is branded similarly to Phoenix.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So big anticipation then, and what have you got to do between now and then? Big job for you guys.
Yeah, I think we seem to have everything in hand. There's a really great support here with Augustine and his team. The information has been really free and flowing, so we kind of put an organigram together already, so we understand who does what roles need to be fulfilled. So I think we're pretty satisfied with what we've achieved for our trip out here, coming here.
This is the first time you've seen the 52 Super Series then, is it?
This is my first time. I'm obviously very familiar with the boats because I do come sail in Palma a couple of times a year, so you see them around. But first time I've actually seen them in action, yeah.
Good. Thank you very much for joining us. We look forward to joining you in Cape Town next year.
Cheers, Andy. So are we.
So Hilton Hale there, the Director of World Sport, our hosts in Cape Town. Let's have a little bit of a look back while we've got time at Menorca, which was our first regatta of the season, and it was a real nice mix of conditions there. Welcome to 2019, and the 52 Super Series starts here in the Sunshine Island of Menorca. We're back here for the third time, a little break last year. The sailors love this venue for the passion on shore and the open racecourse out on the water. This year we have 11 boats, the biggest fleet ever at the start of a season lineup. And 2019 sees new faces among the crews and new boats. Freshly launched is Brunello-Sec, returning to the circuit with a brand new boat after 1 year out. New faces on the dock include Brunello-Sec's Croatian gold medalist, Šime Fantella.
I love it. I really have a nice team behind me, and the new boat feels really good. I think we can compete with the fastest guys here, and we are strong.
And 5 changes to the 2018 champions Quantum Racing's lineup include the return of Ed Baird to the helm, and navigator Juan Villa is back. Newcomer is Cameron Appleton on the team as tactician.
We're excited for another season to come to us. We've got a lot of new guys on board, but we're having fun together, and hopefully it'll be a good year.
It's my style versus Ed's style, and what we each like to hear, and then just how you sort of prioritise certain things. This is a pretty strong fleet. It's very refined this year, and mistakes are costly.
And the 52 Super Series rookies stepping up to have a tilt at the world's leading Grand Prix monohull circuit are the established French crew Team Vision Future.
It's the better fleet, the better sailor. That's the most important event in the world for the monohull.
Many of them are amateurs with real day jobs.
I'm a physiotherapist.
I'm a mining engineer.
Sustainability is a key priority this year once again for the 52 Super Series. Before the regatta started, the Super Series family joined local organisations for a beach clean-up. And then during the regatta, an underwater race dock clean-up produced a small mountain of irresponsibly discarded debris. But there are many new initiatives on the sustainability agenda for 2019.
We start 2 new initiatives. One of them is fuel consumption, that we don't go full speed from the race course back to the harbour. And the other thing is food waste. The amount of food which is thrown away in the whole world, we have to minimize that. I think we are in a very good way because the first event here in my home was already a big success. Barbecue went quite well, so there was no food left at all.
The racing started in perfect brochure conditions, Azzurra opening with a second and a first, a dream start.
This is our best start of the season for the last 10 years, I think. We are happy because we feel that the boat is going well, so that's a good relief.
On the second day, winds refused to cooperate and there was no racing. But a 3-race Thursday was good for the 2018 champions Quantum. 4th, 2nd, 1st reflects positive progress for the new lineup.
We fought hard and we had really good strategy all day, and Ed was able to help us execute it. The rest was the guys just working and sailing the boat well.
But Azzurra's dream becomes something of a nightmare with a 7th, a 10th and a 7th, dropping them off the podium. Provezza proves solid contenders, second going into the final day, chasing Quantum hard.
It was a good day for us. It's tricky out there and it's quite a one-way track. If you get it just right, you can have a really great day.
Breezy finale to the Menorca 52 Super Series sailing week, 15, 16 knots, nice big seas, great conditions. The first race of the day will Provezza get away, that takes them to the top of the leaderboard going into the final race. But it's Platoon finishing with a 2-1, which win the regatta, the first of the season. Provezza tantalisingly close in second.
It's a result of the consistency in the team. We are sailing right now for 5 years together, and everybody knows that the competition is so hard. The boat is going really well, so the changes we made over the winter paid off.
And the final standings, Platoon win the regatta on 28 points, Provezza are second on 29 points, and Quantum Racing third on 34 points. An incredibly close first regatta of the season here in Menorca finishes with a win for Platoon, but only 4 seconds separating first and second in the end. Provezza pushing hard. Join us again in Puerto in June for the second event. Well, just in case we'd forgotten what happened in Menorca way back in May, that was our very brief recap. Platoon winning, setting their stall out for the season, and they're very much in contention still as we're in the 4th regatta of the season. Joined by Mikel Allen, our chief umpire on the 52 Super Series. We're at the Rolex TP52 World Championships. Mikel, we've had a few incidents. Let's have a look through some of them just in real time, first of all, just to see what's been going on the race course. So this was the first day. There was one particular instance. It was a kind of domino effect with Platoon shooting initially, and then that affected Brennanasek, and unfortunately Allegra came out of that rather badly. There's been a few others as well, a few port and starboards, and yesterday we saw a couple. If we could just run through that very slowly, you could just give us your interpretation. It was a difficult one for you to call, wasn't it? So stop there, and that's here's the initial problem. Platoon just shooting the mark. What's going on there?
Well, this is a sequence of actually and when all the boats stacked before, that's when we got more trouble actually with what to do, because you had first Provezza tacking, then Allegre, then Brunello second Platoon, and in that situation they got quite close to each other.
So in the situation here, you've got Provezza giving Allegra dirty air, so Allegra slowed down initially, yeah?
Exactly.
Stop there.
So the problem that we have here is that we consider this the sequence of the previous incident, because after Brunello second attack there, they were locked so they have to give room to platoon for rounding the mark, and they cannot cross head to the wind, and at this point they cross head to the wind. So if it was just boats approaching the mark, it should be a penalty on Bronenosek for tacking here. And but as they were locked from the previous incident, we just judged all together. Eventually, it was a penalty for Bronenosek because on the previous incident, we believe they were in fault.
Yeah.
So, but we only gave them.
Stop there again, just as we come away, or just play it slowly if you don't mind.
Yeah, we only gave them one penalty for the previous incident. Unfortunately for Alegre, they were caught on the wrong side of all the situations, so nothing they could do except what they are doing there, that is stop and avoiding all boats. So it was really unfortunate for them. But rule-wise, that's it's Bronenosek fault in that situation, so we penalised.
But it was a very difficult one to call, wasn't it?
It was because it's
a kind of domino effect where
one asks for room to take and the other one has to answer and give time to the next one, so everything happens at the same time. And
it was down to seconds, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then we have two boats watching to the same incident, so we have all the communication between the umpires. So it's not easy, and I think we got with what looks like a good decision. Obviously, Bronenosek doesn't agree that much, but
and in that situation, Alegre are the kind of aggrieved ones because they were coming in really on ley line, didn't have too many problems, and they just got stuck in the gas of platoon initially, slowed right down. But they were the ones that really suffered. Nothing can be done about that.
Nothing can do. We don't have any redress system for these situations. It's just unfortunate for them that they get a racing incident where they are
wrong place,
armed.
wrong time.
Exactly, and the only thing we can do is penalising the other boat, but will not help them that much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
they've fought back. We've got one more incident, or we've got a few, but a few port starboards on this course because it's a little bit one-sided. Looking at this one here with Bronenosek and Azura.
Yeah.
Talk us through that.
This one, what happened is when Azura is right of way coming into the incident, because they're on starboard, and when they decide to tack, from the moment they cross head to the wind until they complete their tack, they have to keep clear from the other boat. And usually this situation is kind of safe for the right of way boat because the other boats are passing behind them, so they aim behind the Azura. In this situation, Bronenosek, they noticed that Azura was tacking, so they never aim behind. They're always aiming at them.
Yeah.
They have to avoid them before Azura completes the tack, so that's why it was a penalty for Azura. It's a very close racing situation, as we have many here, but they took it a little bit too close on this one.
Yeah, I mean that's the danger kind of with the pro sailors, if you like, the pro helmsmen. Do you think do they push a little bit harder?
Well, usually they might get a bit closer because
their abilities
control the boat better than, or they're more used to it. But but sometimes they're caught anyway. So.
Do we have any other VTs that we maybe have a quick look at in terms of? We're all right there, but in general, on this kind of slightly one-sided Palma Bay track, there seems to be just a few more incidents, aren't there?
Yeah, actually,
particularly with all the boats reaching the windward mark quite often at the same time.
Exactly. It seems that they are getting to the top mark much closer. They have very close speeds, and we saw that on the other events as well. That pretty much all boats win races, so it's very close racing, and they get to the mark. Not all at the same time, but very, very close to each other, and that makes it harder for us and mostly for them because it's even more dangerous for them if they don't do the things right. So I think the fact that we don't have any collisions or any really dangerous situations shows the quality they have because they go really, really close to each other. And
tell me about your positioning on the water because that's key, isn't it?
Yeah. So basically, we have for this size of fleet, we have 4 Empire boats on the water. And we, at the start, we divide from left to right, and we always try to take the pairs.
You always tend to work the same places, do you?
Yeah, and then we basically hand over to each other when we have crosses. And
you're talking on the radio to each other most of the time, or how does it work?
One of the good things here is that we are able to keep the same team for a long time. So for some years that most of us are doing this circuit for a long time, and then we are putting one new people and another. But so that's a very good communication between us, and mostly we know quite well what the other one is doing. So we don't need to talk that much because usually it's one of the problems on the water is having the radio communication working well. So we know that when we have that kind of cross, that person will go to that side and I go to the other, and then we go from there. But the bottom line is that we always want to have a boat in every cross, in every close situation. sometimes it's really hard even if you have both. If you get to the gate, six TP52s at the same time, it doesn't matter how many boats we have there, it's always a problem. But we try to cover zones that each one of us have a little piece of information and come out with a decision.
You appear to have quite a good relationship with the sailors. You respect them, they respect you.
Yeah, it's a very friendly environment.
I quite often see sailors coming to you after racing, or one of you, and saying, right, what did you think there? Was that really right? Or
yeah, I think one of the reasons why we have the respect from them is that it happened sometimes that we might have the wrong call.
And you say,
because we might not have fun, and we give our face to them. We just go there and say, sorry guys, it should be a different one, and they accept.
Not very often, no.
Well, luckily for us, we don't consider that we did any. But sometimes it happens. Sometimes we might miss a little detail that because the boats are quite big and we are a low position on the water, so it's not that easy to see what's happening on the other side of the boat. So sometimes we miss those bits. But well, I think the good thing for them is that rule-wise we are on the same page. We might just interpret slightly different what happened on the water, and that is always a matter of interpretation.
and what do you enjoy about your job?
Well,
what's the
I really
key thing, if you like?
For me, one of the best things is what we were just talking about, is the atmosphere that we have with this event, and having all this communication with the best sailors in the world, and that make us improve on our side, because we get their vision and we start to think that actually they might be quite right on that one, and we take those inputs on board and we grow up a bit, I think, in our job. So it's always challenging, so it's quite fun.
You're still enjoying it?
Oh yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Great job. Thank you, Miguel. We have a new French team with us this year. Said they've just put their toe in the water, really did the first regatta in Menorca, and they're back with us in the Rolex TP52 World Championship. The owner is Dr. Jean-Jacques Chopard, who runs a series of eye clinics in the... And he's enjoying his experience in the 52 Super Series. So Jean-Jacques, first Rolex TP52 World Championship for you. How's it going? How are you feeling?
My feeling is very hard, very difficult. We are not big. It's difficult for us because it's the first time, and the new system, new boat, it's difficult. It's difficult, and the other team is very, 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 very good.
So you're learning together?
Yes, we're learning day after day.
You're quite confident in the Bay of Palma having won Copa del Rey?
Copa del Rey is completely different. The level it's not the same. It's a little bit less. It's easier.
You're enjoying it though? You're having fun?
Yes, it's very, very good for us. Yeah, I am enjoying. Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the team. How long have you been together?
7 years after approximately, but we are not professional. You are amateur.
How many days a year would you sail, roughly, approximately? How many days?
30 days per year, not 200.
Would you like to sail 200 days a year?
Yes, but it's impossible. I work, and it's difficult to pay.
Exactly.
No, it's good like that. 30 days is not bad.
Would you like to do more in the future? Would you like to do less work, more sailing?
No, it's impossible because we work, and it's not possible to navigate a lot of days. No.
Good. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Well done. So Jean-Jacques Chopard, the owner of the Team Vision Future. Good to see them on the circuit, Fergal, isn't it? Sorry, Fergal Findlay's joined us. Yeah, good to see the French team coming in, putting a toe in the water and enjoying it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a very hard fleet to come and step into, but they're straight in the mix. They've got the old 2015 boat from Sled. We've seen them sailing their old 52 in the past in events like Copa del Rey and Palma Vela over the years. So they know how to sail a 52, and they've shown it here. You know, they've had a couple of problems out on the water, like we all do, but I think they were up in third and fourth. They had some really good start. Unfortunate to be over the start yesterday in early, but no, we lost Paprec, but we gained Team Vision, and they're a great group to have around there.
They don't want to meet each other though, not in the 52 Super Series. maybe next year. But how are things going with the Gladiator programme? You've had a busy season. We've only seen you once, I think, or this is second regatta.
No, we've been over in America quite a bit. We've been doing some sailing, some IRC sailing with our old 2015 boat, which has been very enjoyable. Unfortunately, we've missed out on some of the Super Series racing, but no, we've been having a very good time and enjoying sailing against the old Onda boat, which is there now, and the Fox TP52, which is there too.
And you brought some Cowes weather today.
Yeah, well, we had a really nice time in Cowes, and well, us Brits are used to it out here, so it was too hot for us before. And my hair was getting a bit long and hot on my neck, so this has cooled me down. I'm happy now, really happy.
Me too. So Fergal, give us your view on the circuit then this season. I mean, it's been so close. It must have been hard to be sitting in other places in the world and watch and not be able to be here.
Well, I mean, the nice thing for us being in America is we were on the different timeline. We could watch the sailing before we went sailing, so we were kind of, watching the action in Cascais, which was amazing as it was the year before and has been in past years. We were pretty jealous of that. To see the boats doing speeds of 27, 28 knots, which was, I think, kind of unheard of before that, apart from offshore racing. But no, it's been a great season to watch, and it's been nice to see, not your normal boats right up the top. I mean, we saw Quantum have a really tough regatta in Puerto, and Prevets are having a really, really good time up the top, and they were leading, I think, going into this regatta. Such a shame to see them drop their rig the other day, but amazing to see them back. And the shore team do an amazing job of getting their spare rig over here.
A lot of solidarity on the dock with you guys, all there behind them.
We've been there before. We feel their pain as a shore team and having to do the late nights, but that's how we earn our keep. This is our jobs at the end of the day. We have to make sure that we get the boats back on the water no matter the problem, and they've showcased here that they've been able to do it. Their rig was in Valencia.
Guy Barron, unflappable.
Those guys, Guy and Joe and Finn and all the shore team, they were just solid, and they had plenty of help from around.
I was amazed to hear that they had the mast going, or basically in action, before they actually got off the water.
Yeah, it was some great organisation from within the shore team to get that done. They had a bit of help over in Valencia getting it, but this is, like I said, we had it a couple of years ago when we were in Miami. Everyone rallies around you and you do what you can to get the boat. They're your competition at the end of the day, but you still want them to be there. So it's really good that they're back here today, and I'm sure they would have been ready. I know we've been delayed a little bit before the pre-start. I'm sure it's helped them a little bit, get a bit more time. But they would have been ready, and they've got a great team around them to get them back on the water.
I see the Gladiator team gelling here a little bit. I say this is only your second regatta. There's still the best is yet to come with this team in the Super Series this season.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're looking forward to Porto. We always have a good time there.
That's your scene of your best World Championships, so 2011, I think World Championships,
2011 we were third there. I
do remember some things.
It seems like a while ago.
You were but a child then.
I was, I was down there cleaning the bilges. Now look at me. But no, we do enjoy going there, and we obviously enjoy coming here. And it's been a tough start, but as it always is in this fleet, you don't win everything, and you've just got to chip away and take the places where you can by any means.
And Tony loving it, still enjoying it. I mean, he's some character.
Absolutely. I think we're on our 10th regatta.
10th World Championship.
Well, 10th regatta this year.
Oh, is it?
10th World Championship. Yeah, we've been doing this since 2009.
Yeah.
Was the first World Championship. We did it here in Palmer Bay.
That's right, on the weapon of choice.
The weapon of choice, the old 2007 Matador. And
that's right.
We're doing a lot of sailing, still enjoying it a lot. And looking forward to a little bit more.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us, Fergal. I've just heard that racing has in fact been cancelled, not unexpectedly, but unfortunate. We'll be back again tomorrow with all the action. Let's have a look at our sustainability video. We've say it's so much part of our DNA. New initiatives taking place here at this regatta, and more to come. Let's have a quick recap on our sustainability issues.
We've just arrived in Puerto. The 52 Super Series racing is finished for the day, and we're here to collect their leftover food. We've got the van from Asociación Tardor, which is the soup kitchen that's going to use all the food. It's all fresh food left over from the crew's lunches and the support team's lunch. Once we've collected it, it's just going to go straight into the van, and it'll all get eaten this evening. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's brilliant. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks a lot. We've just completed a sweep of all the containers of all the teams in the TP52 series. As yesterday, they've all been very generous with their leftovers. There's plenty of food, which we've now collected into the Tardor van. That's going straight down to the restaurant in Palma, where hopefully there should be enough to feed between 20 and 30 people this evening. So all of that food will be eaten this evening, thanks to all the crews who've supported us and to all of you.
So Jenny, unfortunately then no racing today, but that really great initiative, isn't it?
It is. I mean, the reality is it's difficult to understand how much sailors are going to go through in a day. So on a windy day, they could be really hungry, eating between races, eating before races, especially if we're delayed. On some of the lighter, super hot days, you're like, I don't really want to eat a full sandwich. I don't want to have, anything but a fruit. Like an apple. So that's why we have the leftovers that we have today. I mean, actually, they've been ashore in the coffee store not having any of the food.
So there'll be a fair amount of food for our friends in Palma then.
Yeah, and the reality is it's a great initiative. I think it's not just racing teams like us in the 52 Super Series. They're also working with super yachts around here who have, again, the same leftover food that was just unclear as to whether or not it was going to be used. And you have to be ready for the race teams here. You have to be ready for a long day on the water. We could have been sitting out. Ideally, we weren't because of the lightning, but we could have been sitting out there on the water for 6 hours and then we go through everything. So it's difficult for the chefs on shore, and yet it's really nice to now be able to say we're giving back. There are people who will be having nice dinners tonight because of it, and I think it's a really, really great solution.
Fantastic. And meantime, very disappointing not to get some racing.
Yeah, I think the reality is, and if you guys follow us on social media, there's some quite funny 52 Super Series stories of trying to push the storms away. But the reality is we're sitting in the calm between the two storms at the moment. So
we only know there's one more to come,
and now there's a second part of the front still to come, and it's just there's too much lightning, so it's too dangerous.
Too dangerous. Anyway, let's finish with a quick look at the scoreboard as things stands at these Rolex 52 World Championships, the AP over there. So Sled will go into the penultimate day with a lead of just a point over Platoon, Allegra on 20, Quantum Racing on 20, Azura on 20, and Phoenix 12 also on 20. Brennan and Sex still in the mix on 22, Phoenix 11, 28, Gladiator 30, Team Vision Future 33, and Provezza back in the game tomorrow. Join us then here in Puerto Portals for the penultimate day of racing at the Rolex TP52 World Championships.